her asleep.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, yeah, she told me to lay down on the couch, and she says count backwards from 10, and then she said I'll say a few things, and then you're going to go half asleep. You're not going to go fully asleep because I need to talk to you. So I lay there, and the hum was in my ears so bad. The towel's hum. I guess a lot of people who might be listening, so you might know what that towel's hum is. It's a ultra low frequency, under 20 hertz low, and some people can hear it, some people can't. But I heard that hum really loud. It got louder, and then I told her. I started telling her I can't say anything. I can't remember anything because this hum was so loud. I looked at her, and she was asleep, sitting there straight up asleep. And she says about that big ship I saw, that big triangle ship that I saw, my mom saw, and two brothers saw come over the neighborhood. She thought that was the rapture, that they're going to come and pick a lot of people up in those ships. Well, I asked her, so how'd you get that? She said, I got that from your mind. I said, oh, really? And I said, oh, okay, fine. But yeah, it didn't work so well for me, and I don't. There's only been one, I guess, spiritual, I guess, reader or advisor that I went to that she got 3 out of 4 things correct. She told me about 9 days before I met this alien hybrid in Sedona. She told me on this day, it would be October 4th. This must have been in late September. She said, October 4th, you will meet your first alien. And I did on October 4th. That evening, about 5 or 6 o'clock in the evening, I met this alien. And then she told me my car would be damaged, but she said it would be drivable. You'll be able to finish your trip. Well, I got hail damage, about $2,700 worth.
That's
and
a lot.
that she was good. She's really good. And I don't really believe in psychics. She wasn't a psychic. She don't like being called a psychic. She's a spiritual advisor. And but that was about the best I think I've ever had, and all that cemented into this idea of this gal that I met in Sedona was actually a hybrid.
Now, I got to ask you a question here, Dave. Now, almost all the guests I've had on who've been abducted, virtually when I asked them this question, they told me they felt an evil presence. Did you, with any of these abductions, did you ever leave or have a feeling afterwards that maybe they're not really here to serve man in humanity, or they're here with another type of motive, like maybe we're nothing more than a farm?
The aliens that I run into, I can tell you, I've dealt with the little grays, the tall white, and which is you can call Nordic also. I met with the blue aliens. This one was spotted blue, and the ones that I've dealt with, it was a spiritual feeling. After I got done out of the fear, there's fear at first. When you're electrocuted in your bed and you're shocked and you got all kinds of static going on in the room and you can't move and they keep shocking you and they don't want you to move, that's scary. That is really scary. But after I got up and I said, God help me, and then it's just it went away. I can feel the static electricity starting to go away. And they felt that I had enough. So they're giving us freedom of choice. If we don't want to be dealing with them, then we have a way out of it. I've had 2 implants, and I got pictures of the one implant that I took out of my leg in 2011. And I've got pictures of that one. It looked like a little charcoal chunk. It was dark, and it was. And I've seen others that had the same type of implant. So I got a lot of pictures of that one.
Interesting.
But the first one, I wish I would have kept or saved or whatever. But I didn't know anything then. But no, it's like time. Getting back to the time travel thing, I felt that they always sped me up in time. I was coming from Springfield, Illinois. Takes about an hour and 40 minutes to get where I live. I made that trip in about an hour and 10 minutes, and that's the same night that I saw a UFO look like a pie cutout at the bottom. It was all lit up on the bottom with a dark circle in the middle, and it flew right over my car. And there was about 5 or 6 other cars on the road. Why did it choose to fly over my car? So when it did, though, when I got home, I looked at my watch, and I was 30 minutes plus ahead of time. And I don't know how that happened. I don't know if I don't know how they did it. And I was with a friend of mine in St. Louis, and I just was at a little party there, and I drove her over to a spiritual where they were doing some spiritual stuff. I got to this place in about 12 minutes faster. She says, "You even went through traffic, and you got here quicker than I ever did." And she says, and then she kind of got away from me. She said, "You must be alien." And I said, "No, don't. I'm not an alien. I might have some alien stuff in me, some DNA or some electrical charge. It's proved out on tests in the airports." But she said She said, "I couldn't believe how fast we got here." And I sometimes feel like time really, like you're going through these stoplights real quick, and that's where they've got you. And I don't know what that's all about. And somebody said, "Well, we can go back in time too." I said, "Yeah, but as far as I'm concerned, they just went back into my memory, back, as much as I can remember. I don't know anything about taking me back in time, but I guess I did go back in time one time, and I saw my dad working, and I talked to him. It was a very vivid dream, and I asked him when I was going down this man lift, I asked him what year it was, and it had to be, he said something 9, so it had to be 1979, because he retired in 81 from that place. I worked there with him, that's why I was there. But that's the only time I thought I went back in time. So it's a strange thing. When you go through these abductions and things of that nature, they give you something. They give you either, I've had vivid dreams where I knew what was going on with people. I had a buddy that had cancer, and he's having a rough time. I haven't seen him for several months, and I had this vivid dream that come and told me, and there's two looked like they had hoods on and long robes, and they told me, they said, "Take care of the children and clean up the church." And I was always wondering why they said that. And I said, "Where is my brother Jack?" He said, "He's with another guy named Paul." And this same Paul, I'm not going to say his last name, but this same Paul, my friend, he was going through some hard times. And I said, "I need to contact him." And I told a friend, I said, "What's going on with this guy?" And he said, "Well, don't you know, Dave, he's going through hard times." So they do give you, I guess, some forward time, information. They give it to you in vivid dreams. And a lot of times, if you have a vivid dream, pay close attention to it, because there's a message in there.
Well, some of the people I've been talking to that have been abducted are talking about, like, the world is going to come to the end in the near future. That's some of the messages that they got from their abduction. How about you? Have you got anything like that?
No, I've gotten where I've sat at a desk or table with other humans, other humanoids, and they were trying to teach me symbols and a language, and I was trying to write it, and I felt like I was stupid because I couldn't accomplish what I was doing. And but I was never shown anything into the world. I don't know if we got different aliens that have different thoughts and different ways they do things. I was never shown anything that would really bother me, and they never really hurt me, except I do have marks. I have got pictures of marks on my legs, little holes and that type of thing, but they never really hurt me. I was never shown any pictures of gloom and doom. I'm not sure if that's not locked into the human psyche, that type of stuff, and it probably amplifies when you go through an abduction process, maybe through the magnetic energy they use to put you out. They don't need any anesthetic like we have. They have magnetic energy that just can put you out. And it was, I think Dr. David Jacobs said, he told me one time, he said, there's a lot of people that don't even realize they've been abducted, but they have. They come to their bedside, hit them with a light. They think they're still sleeping. They go through an abduction process, and they come back. And they don't know what even happened to them. So there's a lot of people out there that could be listening right now and saying, well, this guy, he's been abducted, or they could half think think that I'm telling the truth. Half might, say, no, I have to see it to believe it. That's okay. That's fine. I know there's going to be skeptics out there, and I know all the events that's happened to me is kind of hard to swallow. Linda Moulton Hall told me that there's a lot of events that happened to me over a series of time, and I took notes, and I've got a ledger, and I know what happened to me during those times. But no, I've never seen gloom and doom. The four that I've been now, I did see a reptilian one time, and it was about 6 o'clock in the morning. I was just getting up. I looked over at my closet, and there was a 5.5 foot, looked like a cobra in the face. And I thought to myself, oh my! I jumped out of bed, and I was so scared. Now that scared me just to look at this thing. So I jumped out of bed, and I turned back around, and then it just started disappearing. He showed up, and then he was gone. He was there about 5-6 seconds, and then he was gone. So that's the closest I've seen a reptilian. But I heard you say, Gary, that the reptilians are up to no good.
Well, there's actually a couple different species of aliens. It's, abducting people. I always look at it this way. If you abduct somebody off the street, right, and you take them to your house, you take them across the state line, you're going to go to prison because you're doing something against somebody's will. And I feel strongly, even these people who are being abducted by UFOs, aliens, are doing the same thing. They're not asking people. They're just picking people out of random. And I don't know if they're doing it to basically to track our DNA, our reproduction, to whatever the reason behind it. But I don't think they're friendly from that aspect. They're doing it without asking and abducting people over and over again. Like Calvin Parker, had a bad experience with his abduction when the alien, tried to put her fingers down his throat and come out of his nose. I mean, and I've heard a lot of different people saying that their abduction, being taken aboard a UFO, wasn't a friendly encounter. They suffered a lot of pain during the abduction. Even when they were returned, they had memories, or they had burn marks, or they had something. So that's the part it scares me. Now, again, who knows how many different races of aliens are abducting people and visiting our planet?
Right. If you would go back to Travis Walton's story, those were Nordics. Those were tall whites that he was dealing with Greys. The Greys work with the Nordics. They didn't really go out after him to kill him or to maim him or anything like that. But yeah, he was scared to death. I mean, anytime you run into a new situation with these types of new creatures looking at you, it's going to scare you. And he was frightened by all that. I mean, he still is to this day. And I believe that these Nordics and the little Greys are not out to harm us. There must be, I guess, I heard something that 7 aliens are dealing with this planet peacefully. And then there's other aliens that are trying to do bad things to this planet. And if you've seen these NASA, videos that they show on these TV shows, documentaries, where you see a bright light streaking out through space and another one chasing after it, like it was a ray or a missile that was going after this thing. I think they call that, some people say there's a battle out there in space between aliens. And I think the good aliens are keeping us safe, because if they were bad, I think we're overdue for them to come down and destroy us and start over again. Because of the nuclear bomb. I
think also that the Earth has been done several times. Yes. We've been rebooted because, it's a common fact now. Just recently, they're even coming out, the pyramids were now underwater. And if the pyramids were underwater, that blows the whole theory how they were even built in the first place. My theory is that at one time an alien race came down to our planet to basically for our minerals, our gold, our silver, whatever assets we had on our planet, and they mined it. And they brought down a species, a humanoid, to maybe work the mines or whatever they did. And when it wasn't profitable enough, or it wasn't enough resources left for them to keep mining, they left.